Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. For those who have just stumbled across me, my name is Noelle Mosier. I'm a backyard chicken keeper, and I am the owner, creator, editor of the Kuntry Klucker. I am a unique voice. I'm going to put it to you that way. When it comes to prefab coops, not everybody can build a chicken coop from scratch, either because woodworking is not their skill or because conceptually it's just a little bit above what they can handle, maybe physically, because working with lumber can be very difficult and very strenuous. If you have physical limitations, that's not possible. So prefab coops often get a bad rap about their durability, especially when it comes to weather, and also when it comes to longevity. And I have, through the years, perfected some hacks in order to make your prefab coops a little bit more sturdy and stable and windworthy. Well, yesterday we had a very severe wind system come through. The Weather Channel is still debating, not the Weather Channel, but the media, the local weather people are still debating whether this was a tornado or was it a derecho. But I'm filming this video today, not so much to talk about the weather, but to show you the effects of a properly mounted and properly secured and properly structural built, mounted, everything prefab coop. Now, for those of you that have followed me, you know that I have several prefab coops. I've got 7 coops in total. 5 of them are prefabs. So here's what I'm going to show you. So we have the Bantam Boutique. It is doing absolutely fabulous. And this is the TARDIS. Now, the wind did try to rip the roof off of this one. And in so doing, it sort of moved it off of its foundation here. But I mean, to fix this would be a little bit on the difficult side. But what I want to show you here is not so much that they are indestructible, but when you have them properly mounted and secured, that it takes a severe wind event in order to actually destroy it. So it did try to rip, you can tell that the wind tried to rip the roof off of this coop, and in so doing, it kind of slid its foundation this way, but it is still standing. Now, I'm not trying to say that these are indestructible coops. They are not indestructible, but if these are properly secured, and if you take the proper steps to mount these to the ground in such a way that the wind cannot lift it up and throw it, it's going to take a severe wind event in order to actually cause structural damage. Now, we do have other damage in addition to this coop. So here is the crucible, which is perfectly fine. And of course, Coupe de Ville, the Klucker, and Henwarts is fine. But in addition to the damage it caused to the TARDIS, it has uprooted one of our trees, our big willow tree. So we do have pretty significant storm damage from this storm. And I do have all of my coops secured, not secured, but insured on my insurance policy. So what I'm trying to show you here is not that they are indestructible, but if you have them mounted and properly secured and properly maintained, it's going to take a pretty significant wind event in order to actually do serious damage to your prefab coops, such as the wind event that came through here that knocked over this tree. And we have other trees, so you can see my neighbor's yard here. They have trees down. So all up and down our road here. Trees have been uprooted and thrown or knocked over. So my suspicion is, now it hasn't been confirmed yet, but we had some serious storms run through this area yesterday. And my suspicion is it was a tornado, but I'm not sure because they have not actually confirmed that it was a tornado. And if it was, what was the F scale, I'm not sure. But whatever wind this was, it was significant enough to uproot trees. And what I want to show you is that my prefab coops, because they are properly mounted, because they are properly secured to the foundational beams, and I have a video on this and a blog post on this that I'll link to this video so you can see what I'm talking about, that these are not wind toys. Okay, a lot of people try to tell you that the prefab coops, they're not good coops, they're rickety, they're going to fall apart, a simple breeze is going to blow them over. No. A serious wind event will, but if they're properly secured, it's going to be the kind of wind event that it's also going to uproot trees. So yes, the TARDIS is damaged, and I do have all my coops secured on my insurance, so I am going to have to put this in on the claim that we have filed for also the other damage that we have, which is uprooted trees around our property. But as far as weathering the weather, the TARDIS is still standing. Yes, it is damaged, it has roof damage, and it has structural damage. But it's not so much the TARDIS that I want you to focus on here. It's the fact that it was properly secured, and it took a severe wind event, such as one to uproot trees, in order to actually cause damage to a properly secured and mounted prefab coop. So that's what I want you just to see, and my voice is different. I am pro prefab coops. Yes, they can sustain damage. Yes, they can be destroyed. But I have my coops secured, and I've taken the proper steps in order to mount them to the ground. And the same wind event that knocked over trees and uprooted trees is the same wind event that knocked the TARDIS off its foundation and damaged the roof. So, not indestructible, but if properly mounted, very much able to withstand wind events. Not all wind events, but enough that you're not going to have to worry about a simple breeze or a simple thunderstorm blowing these coops over or blowing them apart. Now, the testament to this is the fact that the TARDIS is still standing. Although it's damaged, it is still standing. It did not fall apart. It did not blow it up. It did not turn it into toothpicks. And this is a lot of the stuff that you're going to hear about prefab coops, and a lot of chicken keepers saying that if you can't build a coop from scratch, then it's not a coop, and you might as well be buying your chicken's popsicle stick coops. That's really not true. I am pro prefab coops. I love them because I think that they are a viable option for many chicken keepers for many different reasons. Some people, just woodworking is not their thing. I get that. Woodworking is dangerous. Carpentry is a skill, and not everybody has it, and it can send you to the emergency room if you do something wrong. So yes, I understand that. And also, physical limitations. Not everybody has the strength to haul around lumber. So these prefab coops are a worthy investment. They are worthy homes for your chickens, and they're not as rickety and as destructible as a lot of people try to make you think, make you feel about these coops. And so I'm kind of the salmon that swims upstream when it comes to these prefab coops, because I'm a small voice. I'm definitely not a voice of the masses, but I am a voice that says, no, if you buy a prefab coop and if you take the proper steps in order to secure them to the ground, they are quite durable. And this shows exactly that. It shows that, yes, the TARDIS is damaged. Yes, it ripped the roof off of it. Yes, it knocked it off its foundation. But the wind event that it took in order to achieve that damage was very significant enough to uproot and throw trees around. So Not sure if it was a tornado that came through here. It could have just been a derecho, but the damage that is up and down my road and in this area is kind of indicative of something that had rotating winds. I don't recall a tornado warning for this area, but there were tornado warnings all around my area. So I'm not really sure, but we do have to file a homeowner's and claim. And this is insured, so I have all of my coops insured on my homeowner's insurance. So if something like this happens, my chickens aren't homeless. So right now this crew is living over here in the Bantam Boutique. They normally live in the TARDIS, but they're over here. And then once we get the adjuster here and everything and we get our check from insurance company, I am going to replace the TARDIS. But before we tear it down and put up a new one, I kind of wanted to come back here and just show you guys what a properly mounted, properly secured prefab coop can actually withstand. So if you take the right steps, and I will link my blog post and I will link the other video where I talk about how to properly mount these coops, you're going to be pleasantly surprised, I'll put it to you that way, about how, viable these homes really are and just what exactly it takes to destroy one of these when it's properly mounted and properly secured. It takes something that's going to uproot trees. And once you have a wind event that's uprooting trees, we're obviously, it's beyond our ability to control, because the weather is going to do what the weather's going to do. But once you're to the point that you're having tree damage and trees falling into houses and everything, it's just, there's not much you can do because the weather is just going to do what it does and Mother Nature is just going to do what she does. But as far as your typical severe thunderstorms, as far as your typical, summer storms, spring storms, whatever, a properly mounted, see, there's chainsaws all around the place. The air is just filled with the sound of chainsaws as everybody's trying to recover from the significant weather that came through yesterday. So yeah, I just want to come on here and just say, look, this is what it really takes to damage your coops, your prefab coops, if they're properly mounted. It takes something that's going to uproot trees. So I know I've probably taken 10-12 minutes to say this, but I just kind of wanted to be the other voice that says, no, prefab coops are not junk. They are fairly durable, and you can take proper steps to make them even more durable. Like, one thing I do with my prefab coops is I get these big landscaping timbers. A lot of times people use these like in parks, like around playgrounds and stuff to keep the mulch in. So this is the level of these timbers that I'm talking about. You can get them at Lowe's and Home Depot. And what I do is I take my coops, I cement the timbers into the ground, and then I screw the coops with a 4-inch screw into these timbers. So when it comes to wind, it doesn't really move, and it takes something that's going to uproot trees in order to actually damage it. And that's exactly what we had. And the TARDIS was the only coop that sustained damage. So it could have been just where it was or whatever, but it's the only coop that sustained damage. And so by properly mounting these coops, you increase their wind resistance because it's harder for the wind to pick it up and throw it. So here is henwarts. This is another one. I've got these big, I guess they're 4x4 timbers that are cemented into the ground. And then of course the coop is then screwed by 4-inch screws around the perimeter to keep it adhered to the ground. So when you have big wind events, when it tries to lift it up and throw it, it can't. And so that's exactly what we had here. So now my bigger concern is not so much that TARDIS was damaged, but now I have a big breach in coop security. So my girls are locked up for the time being. I have the silkies out right now because I'm out here with them, and I'll put them back in before I go inside. But this is my bigger concern, is not so much, okay, yeah, I've got a coop that's damaged due to possible tornado that was either lofting or touched down here, one of the two. But now I have this big hole in my fence. So, because a willow tree that was standing here just took it out like toothpicks. It just turned that wood into shrapnel, but or splinters, I mean. So this is actually my bigger concern, but like I said, we have filed a homeowner's claim, so we're going to get this cleaned up, the fence repaired, and I'm also going to replace the tortoise. But I just wanted to give you a real life perspective of exactly what these coops can withstand. They're not going to roll over by a simple thunderstorm. It's going to take something with some significant wind in order to actually cause damage if they're properly mounted. So anyway, that was the whole point of this video. And as everybody's starting up their chainsaws, I guess I'm going to go ahead and get off of here. So anyway, if you have just stumbled across my channel looking for Prefab Coops, again, my name is Noelle. I'm a backyard chicken keeper and blogger, and so it's nice to meet you and welcome. And for those that have already followed me for years, I thank you for your support. The girls and I thank you for your support, and we'll see you next time. Bye.